Hi guys, right, got another small problem with the ZZR, only a teensy one, and I think it's been since I replaced the ECU, but I can't be sure. I should have on the dashboard a red flashing LED. Which means the immobiliser's on, and since the ECU was replaced, I've not noticed it, but it's definitely not working now. So I've had a quick look into it, and it means that the batteries drop below 12 volts, and for some stupid reason these bikes seem to just kill batteries. I've bought myself a new one, nice new motor bat as you saw, and I'm going to be fitting that. Hopefully that will alleviate the problem. So I'm not going to be showing you basically how to change a battery because most of you will know. I will probably film it, let you see what's going on, and then for those of you that are beginners and don't know, might give you a little bit of an insight, so maybe I will film it. But what I have noticed is while I bought the bike in, is probably, it's totally unrelated, but it might help some of you newer riders out, and that's if you're going to ride all year round, we recommend, or most people will recommend, that you flush your brakes out when you get back, especially if it's crappy roads outside, salt, road grit, you know, all that kind of stuff builds up on the bike. It also builds up on the brakes. So if you give them a quick rinse out with a hose pipe when you get back, that's normally all that I need. Then every so often you can just whip them out, give them a quick clean up with some brake and clutch fluid, put them back in, job done. And now I'll show you why it's suddenly just come to mind. Bear with me, let's take it down. Now, if you have a look at the exhaust there, that's from one ride. Now, not only is that all over the exhaust, that's going to be all over the wheels, all over the brake discs. More importantly, it's going to get right in there, and it's going to be all over the piston, front and back. So that'll give you a bit of an idea of how the crap builds up actually on the piston, or on the brake pistons, and then as the piston slides out and in and out, it will keep building up. Each time the piston slides out back, that will build up around the rubber seal, out and in, crap builds up, and it builds up around the seal, and eventually it will knacker the seal, it get under the dust cap, into the side, knacker the seal, knacker your brakes, or at least cause a seized or a partially seized piston. So that's always a good reason for check out that out. Either my back copies of my videos, Del Boy's Garage, I think Johnny Cactus might have done one as well, but there'll be other people out there, and it's dead easy to do. Right, going to get on with changing this battery, see if changing the battery will reset this LED. Supposedly one of two things will stop it from flashing. The first one is if the voltage drops below 12 volts, and mine's normally around 12.4, 12.5, at the moment it's 11.9. Kind of splitting hairs, but it's under the 12, the LED's not working. The other thing is sometimes it can be set to be turned off, and to turn it back on you disconnect the battery, put a new one on. With us just coming into winter, I wasn't going to mess around with the battery. I did a run up to London for the Ace Cafe toy run, rode up to London, in and around London, rode it all back. I'm only on 12.4 volts still, so it's obviously not holding a charge. So we'll stick this new motor bat in, see what occurs. I'll just give you a quick wander around this motor bat battery before I put it in, and you can see that these actually come, hopefully you'll be able to see that from that angle, with 4 terminals, 2 negatives, 2 positives. And that will ensure that the battery can then go that way round, all that way round in your bike, and you'll still have your connector and terminals on the same side. One little bag of terminals and one carrier for the battery. Let's go and fit it. Okay, so I've taken the side panel part off, removed the screw from there. I never like to pull these too hard. There we go, that's one. Swap hands. That's the other side. So that's where the battery lives, in here. That's the relay for the Denali sound bomb, which is under there. That's the fuse for it, and we just very carefully tease all this lot out. Have to take that one there apart. Take these two 8mm out. That releases that, and then the battery will slide out. Right, well that's the battery that's just come out, and that's not the battery that's recommended for the bike. And I just didn't know in the past. This number on here does not relate to what it should be according to the manual and according to a Kawasaki dealer. It's very similar, but not exactly the same. It was also a very tight fit in there. That's the motor bat at the side of it. As you can see, it's quite a lot smaller. Should have a bit more space to feed the cables in and make it look a little bit tidier in there. And luckily for me, I just happen to have it on the bench the right way round. So we take out the two little clips. It's amazing how the camera moves in your other hand when you're not watching it. Right, so there's a little bag of bits and pieces. Let's just stick you up somewhere and see if we can get you on there. One way or the other. There we go, and that's how that goes on. But I'm not sure whether that carrier will fit inside the actual battery harness, so I'll try that when I get down there. So there you can see the motor bat's in. Still got to tidy these wires up a wee bit before I put the cover back on. Make sure they're all out of the way and they don't get pinched, squashed and squeezed. And being the battery was a bit lower, I've managed to get the relay and the fuse holder under the strap, which also helps keep the battery firm, should they have to take the cover off for MOT purposes. But aside from that, that bit's done. Now the real test comes. Turn the ignition on and back off again and see if I get the immobiliser light. So that's it on. Give it a second. Turn it off. You should get a red flashy light there if it's mended. Yeah. Who's the daddy? So there you can see what the old battery was reading. 12 volts as near as, damn it. But if it drops underneath that 12, then it's just enough to turn the immobiliser off. What I'm guessing is, what I'm guessing is the voltage output display that I have on the dashboard is slightly irregular, and it's just enough to kick it off. But it's all done now. So thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.